able to be a little bit more accurate now that I'm at the station in here where I can actually see the name of the ship. This right here is Apollo and the Soyuz Test Project, Joint Mission in Space. So everybody have a beginning, right? I mean, it was in July 1975, 2 manned spacecrafts were launched into Earth orbit. One from Kazakhstan, which is one of the Russians' provinces, and the other from Florida, I guess Cape Canaveral, and they rendezvoused in space. I remember this right here. I was a kid. I was upstate New York, actually, on a farm, and couldn't wait to get back home to get the news, because we didn't really have a TV up there, you know, that they had successfully made the connection in space. This was a time when, you know, the height of, I guess, the nuclear race, and the height of not really understanding the Russians or the Americans didn't understand them, and they didn't understand the Americans. And but it was a beginning, and from that, many friendships have developed. So when you say we can't get along or whatever, I think that we all have a beginning, and we must honor that beginning. All right.
In the years after World War II, America's leaders feared a surprise attack from our Cold War adversary, the Soviet Union. With the advent of intercontinental ballistic missiles in the late 1950s, Soviet nuclear weapons could reach and destroy American cities in only 30 minutes. The need to know what was going on inside the Soviet Union grew urgent. This photograph of a Soviet bomber base was taken in 1966 by a satellite orbiting the Earth at 17,000 miles per hour. At a time when the communist world remained cloaked in secrecy, American reconnaissance satellites were passing silently overhead, gathering vital information on the Soviet military and its weaponry, and guarding against a surprise attack. In early efforts to pry loose Soviet secrets, the United States sent balloons and reconnaissance aircraft over the Soviet Union. When a U-2 spy plane was shot down by the Soviets in May 1960, America's glimpse of enemy territory suddenly went dark. Fortunately, an alternative to the spy plane was already in preparation, the result of years of planning and effort. In 1958, President Eisenhower instructed the Central Intelligence Agency and the Air Force to jointly oversee the development of a photo reconnaissance satellite. Initially operating under the cover name Discoverer, the satellite was said to be part of a biomedical research program. But the real mission of the top-secret Corona project was intelligence. Launched by a Thor booster, Corona satellites would fly in an orbit about 100 miles high around the Earth's poles, photographing intelligence targets below. The exposed film was ejected from the satellite in a capsule. Snatched in midair over the Pacific Ocean and flown to processing facilities. Thousands of people worked in utmost secrecy and under tight deadlines to transform this idea into reality, overcoming many difficult technical problems along the way. Lockheed Missiles and Space Division, High-Tech Corporation, General Electric, and Eastman Kodak were the major contractors for the Corona spacecraft and camera. The entire program was overseen by a new and top-secret agency based in the Pentagon, the National Reconnaissance Office. At first, the program seemed plagued by misfortune. But after 12 consecutive failures, the capsule of the 13th Discoverer mission became the first object ever recovered from orbit. A week later, on August 18, 1960, Discoverer 14 returned the first spy photographs of the Soviet Union taken from space. Less than 4 months after the U-2 had been shot down, the United States now had a secret eye in space that could peer behind the Iron Curtain. The first pictures taken by the Corona camera were fuzzy and showed little detail. In this early photograph of the Schmidt airfield in the Soviet Arctic, no object smaller than 40 feet across was recognizable. But in just over a year, resolution had improved to 12 feet. Later improvements included adding more film and a second camera for stereo imaging. With one camera looking forward and one looking back, the objects in the photographs could be viewed in 3 dimensions. By the time the Corona program ended in 1972, it was possible to see a line of visitors to Lenin's tomb in Red Square. By providing hard evidence that the Soviet Union had no decisive advantage in nuclear weapons and was not preparing a sneak attack, satellite imagery proved invaluable to America's leaders. In the years after the first successful mission, reconnaissance satellites helped to lessen Cold War tensions and helped achieve, in the early 1990s, a reduction in the nuclear arsenals of both sides. Today's reconnaissance satellites no longer return capsules of film from space, but rely upon electronic technology to transmit detailed images directly from orbit, allowing rapid analysis of a developing threat. In ways that not even Corona's visionaries could have imagined, satellite reconnaissance is now used to dispel fears, warn of danger, and help keep the peace from the ultimate vantage point of space.
Is Davies nice and organized? No.
This here is look like a biplane. Get them at the Smithsonian Aerospace in Washington, D.C. And I'm going to show you a picture of something I believe is one of the first spy planes called the Sky Spy. You see the pilot there, or a co-pilot, got a camera in his hand. Call it the Sky Spy. It's propeller driven. This is propeller up there. Okay. Pan American was one of I like to call it one of the pioneer airlines that, to me, well, I guess to most people born in the United States, it's one of the founders, pioneer airline. Pan American, TWA, and of course American Airlines. This was the Atlantic chopper, the clipper, like a house, but it was really called the flying boat. Right now I'm going to do a video on Spirit of St. Louis. Just want to look at where it was manufactured at. Manufactured by Ryan Airline in Corp, San Diego, California. Tail number is NX211. N-X211. I often refer to Charles Lindbergh also as the father of aviation. A lot of people might argue with me about it, but he took some risks that most people, even school pilots, did not mature to take. And Charles Lindbergh took them risks, and by taking those risks, it really helped to the development of aviation. This right here again is the Spirit of St. Louis. I believe it had 5 gas tanks on it to make the journey across the Atlantic Ocean. All right. Again, this is Cowhn News, and we're at Smithsonian Aerospace, and right now I'm taking a close-up of Lindbergh's plane that he took across the Atlantic Ocean in 1927, the Spirit of St. Louis. Front viewers of the Spirit of St. Louis. Again, this is the American revzech Church of what's happening now. Spent about 3 hours in the Smithsonian Aerospace. Like I normally come down here every 2 or 3 years just to see what's going on, see if there's anything new. But it's still, I didn't find much new in there, but it's still a worthwhile journey. It teaches us the beginning of aviation and things and how aviation has been evolved in the last 75 years. Just look up, and you would think that another 75 years, where we're going to be. But I think that more people need to come out here to the Smithsonian, and if you do, when you come, please remember to put a donation in, because they do a lot of research and things of that nature. And a lot of the equipment that they get in, they need to have it repaired. So anything, $1, $20, or whatever you can throw into the box. They're not begging you for it, but it's a good thing to make a donation. I had the privilege today of eating what you call a McDonald's in there. They have a McDonald's adjacent to the back of the Smithsonian, which is, it's not like the regular McDonald's that you would go to, but the prices are quite expensive. But again, we must realize that the rent probably costs a great deal too. So you're not going to get that cup of coffee for 99 cents. But again, it was a worthwhile journey, and I imagine I'll be back 2015. And I wish I could have got more video in the museum, but they don't allow you to set up a tripod. And again, holding the video cameras, the arms move and things, even with the adjustment valve on it, it still works the same. You find a video upside down, you know. So I'm gonna do all I can to put it on YouTube and just try to get a lot more people in. I'm gonna try to also put a trip together for the my Sunday school team, kids and things of that nature. Well, I'll bring them down here with their parents, but I won't go in. I'll wait again to 2015 for me to go back into the Smithsonian Aerospace. They have many other museums, and I believe that they're working on also building the African American Museum down here, so that's going to be worthwhile. I don't know exactly where it's going to be at, but all the museums are good. I just favor aerospace because I've been working in aviation for 30 years. So again, this is the American Reverend Zachariah Jackson from the church. What's happening now? Good night.
Are you a dead person?